Hi there, Satin class. You did really well yesterday measuring angles using a protractor for the very first time. You should be really proud of yourselves. If you had to have a bit of help with the scales, then that's absolutely fine. If you are still not quite sure on which scale you should be using, then I'm going to go through some angles and measuring for you today. But you did do a brilliant job yesterday. You should be really proud of yourselves. So I thought I'd get my visualizer out, my trusty visualizer, my new best friend, and show you underneath the visualizer some angles that I've already drawn. Okay, you can see they're all in different orientations. Some are a bit wonky, some are baselines nice and straight on top of the squared lines as well. So I know that some of you may have found it a bit tricky with the protractor not having lines along like that, like the pictures that we have in the books. It's the way to get around it is to make the lines a bit longer. So I know some of you in your books may have used a ruler and just extended the lines. So say for example this was my line in my book, use a ruler and just scooch it off a bit. As long as you're as accurate as you can, just scooch the line along a bit, because you're going to need to be able to see it really clearly through the scale. So I hope the light doesn't interfere too much with this, but if I turn the lights off you can't see, so I'm going to have to carry on as I am. If you can see that, then that's absolutely brilliant. I can just about maybe put a bit of shade on it. No, I think it's probably fine like that. If you need to pause it, then do pause it to have a good nosy. So remembering that the vertex goes in my middle point, my center point of my protractor. This one here, the baseline here, we'll call it A just to help us out. So the baseline sits on 0 on the outer scale. So which scale am I going to use? That's right, I'm going to use the outer scale, so I'm just going to write that here to remind me. Okay, now I can easily read this one. It is 40 degrees. So my outer scale there, 40 degrees. And when I move the protractor away, you can clearly see that it's less than 90, so it is acute. So I will just double check, is 40 less than 90? Yes it is, so it's going to be as right as I can get it. Now, we don't need to know about Sheffield United and Manchester United. Not for now anyway. Let's move them along. Anyway, the next one you've got here to look at sits at a bit of an awkward orientation. So for me and for you, I want you to get into the habit of moving your paper, because I'll show you something. If you put your protractor there, it's on a wonk. It's on a wonky angle. Funny. And whilst you can still see what it measures, how it measures, it's actually easier if you move your paper so that your protractor sits straight. Okay? Because then you can see it really easily. Now, for this one, I put my centre line in my vertex, and then my baseline, this one, my 0 is on the inner scale. So for this one, I'll just remember the inner scale. Okay, so I need to look at the inner scale. Go round, and if I move my pencil line across, I can see that it is 68. Am I right, Satin class? You do know that I like to make the odd mistake, but I'm just looking at that and I'm really pondering on it, because I know that 68 is less than 90, but this angle is open out wider and it's an obtuse angle. Well, what have I done wrong there? Let's have another look. Let's rub that out. If you don't have a rubber, put a neat line through any mistakes. Let's try that one again. Here we go. My centre line is is on my vertex. My baseline is 0 on the inner scale. Scoot round. Oh look, there it is. 110, but it's not 110. It's gone past 110. It's actually, if this is 110, that's 111, that's 112. So I can write that in now. 112 degrees. Wow, I really do need to check my angles here. So for this one, it's not too wonky. I will just put my protractor on it. Right. Now it's a bit too short, so I'm going to get my ruler and I'm going to make it just a little bit longer. There's always a way round these things, always a way round. Here we go. So I can put that on there. Yeah, that's definitely correct. Centre into the vertex. Now, which scale am I going to use? If you said the inner scale, you are correct. My 0 is on the inner scale, on my baseline here. Yesterday, one of us in class said, if your baseline is on the right-hand side, you can use the inner scale. That's something to remember. My baseline is on the inner scale. It's on the right-hand side. Here we go. Let's go and measure this one. So it's just gone past 70. This one here, this middle line would be 75. So that one less, 74 degrees. 1 digit per box there. I've got a bit close up there. Excuse me. So you're going to help me with the last one. I'll just check this one. 74. Oh yeah, it definitely looks less than 90. Right, so here we go. I've got my baseline. Now looking at this, my baseline's on the other side now. My baseline is on the left-hand side. So I'm going to use the all together now. Outer scale. Here we go. Right, let's go round and just make sure it's really accurate. It's gone past 120, 125, one more, 126 degrees. And looking at that, it is definitely more than 90 degrees. So I hope that's helped you remember how to use your inner and outer scale. Also do remember to move your book around, especially for those wonky ones. So hopefully my computer's going to play nicely and I can just show you your resources for today, because originally I was going to leave you alone to crack on, but I thought I would just double check that we are okay measuring angles. So there's quite a few things you could be doing today. First of all, we have your page 102. If you come up to the instructions, I'll just highlight them. Can I highlight them? I can't highlight them, never mind. So you can complete page 112, oh there we go, complete 112 in your Inspire book. So Peter is on a journey and he will turn in different directions. We know an angle is a turn, and you can see on Peter's journey the angles that you need to measure, and there's little lines to measure those, to write your answers on, to write your answers in. You can then draw your own journey with different angles with a ruler. It's really important that you use a ruler. I can't stress enough how much it's important to use a ruler. So if you don't get straight lines, you're never going to be able to measure your angles accurately. So use a ruler to draw your own journey for a Peter type character, maybe a Greg or somebody like that, or Jim. I know how much you love Jim and Greg. Then you can measure the angles on your own journey. There are challenge questions down here as well. They're on a Google Docs which cannot be edited, so you can either print them off or you can read them from the screen and write the answers into your yellow books. I have actually put extra practice questions for measuring angles if you feel like you need some extra practice. So you've got to self-assess. In other words, can I do this? Have I managed to get it accurate enough? Or do I need extra practice? Because you're in year 4, you can self-assess your work, self-check. So I also put a really fun game. Well, I think it's fun, and it is to do with measuring angles. The only problem I would say with it is that it doesn't have an inner or an outer scale, but it's still good practice reading a scale. Okay, so don't forget you can also do your daily 10. I know lots of you have been having a go at daily 10. For tomorrow, today, could you please practice multiplication and have a go at testing your own tables for a practice test. Friday we will do on Friday, get my words out, on Friday we will do a times table test. Okay, so any questions you can message me on your private messages for the assignment, or you can message me on the dojo. I'm sure you are going to enjoy measuring angles. Take care everybody.